Welcome to this Nearpod training. Today I'm going to go over the key features of Nearpod. Nearpod basically allows you to make your lessons interactive, right? So you can add activities throughout your presentations in order to engage students. All right, so you can add like virtual reality images, simulations, quizzes, open-ended questions, and things like that. So one of the good things about Nearpod is that they have this library of lessons that you can copy it to your library. You can edit those lessons, and then you could just deliver it. So that's a great feature. Not only you have access to this library of lessons, but you can also turn your Google Slides presentations into Nearpod lessons, which is what one of the things that I will be showing you. So like I said before, I'm going to show you the key features. By no means an expert using Nearpod. I'm just going to show you what I know and what I use it for, and I will try to cover as much as possible the different features and options that you will have. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to explore and take advantage of their library of lessons that they already have. I'm going to show you how to preview, edit those, copy them to your own library, and then I'm going to show you what the live instruction looks like, and also the student pace. So student pace is great because if there's students that can't make it to our Zoom meetings, right, or to class, they can always make up the work at their own pace. All right, so number 2, I'm going to go over the reports section in Nearpod. The reports section is basically where you're going to find all the data from the students. So all the different activities that you use in that specific lesson. The program basically records all the data, all the answers that the kids are actually doing on their end. And I'm going to show you what that looks like, and how you can access that information in order to grade students. Number 3, I'm going to show you how you take your own Google Slides presentations and turn them into Nearpod lessons. So you can add, the individual activities in your own Google Slide presentations in order to turn those into Nearpod lessons. The last thing I'm going to show you is how these live sessions will look like on the other end, right? So what the students is going to see when you're delivering these lessons. And we're going to switch back and forth between the teacher and the student interface. There's a few options on the teacher interface that I would like to cover. Let's just make it easier to deliver your lessons. All right, so here we go. The website that we're gonna use is called nearpod.com. You can see it up here. So you have a few options here. The student option here, when you run any live sessions, each lesson is going to have a code. So you can give this website to the students, and the students will be able to put the code here and join the lesson. So the good thing is that the kids don't have to log in with their email. They don't have to create accounts. They don't have to do none of that. It's just, works with codes. The kids put the codes here, and they automatically join the lessons. Teacher account, it's what you want to sign up for. You can log in either with your Google account, school Google account, or your DOE account. So I'm going to sign up with Google, and this is what the website looks like, right? Once it loads, you have my library, the reports, the Nearpod content, their library of lessons, and then teacher resources. So the first thing I want to cover is their library. So when you go to Nearpod library, you have all these different subjects here. You can search by grade. So I'm going to click on high school here. So once I pick the subject, Nearpod is going to give me a list of all the different ELA lessons that they have available. Okay, so As you can see, they have a lot of good stuff that you can use. If we go to math, and we're gonna get lessons have to do with math, and they have a lot of stuff here too as well. Science, we have social studies, we have technology and computer science, and other. And then in other, you're gonna find a variety of things here. So first thing you see is languages. There's a lot of stuff for languages. But if you keep scrolling down, you will get other different types of lessons. Now, I recommend that if you don't teach any of these subjects, social studies, science, math, ELA, or technology, I recommend that if you're searching for something specifically, just type it on top. So I know that Nearpod has financial literacy lessons. Right, so when you do that, you can see here that you have some lessons on stocks, financial superpowers, right, credit scores, right, and I believe they also have career readiness lessons. So you have life skills, financial literacy. Okay, so there's a lot of good stuff here that we can use. Whoever's teaching CFM or even the counselors can take advantage of this. Some of these life skills lessons. All right, so let's say I want to use this lesson here. First thing I'm going to do is preview the lesson, right? So you can preview the lesson, preview all the individual slides on this presentation. So if you can see, they have essential questions, they have the objectives. Okay, so these are the different slides, and then it gets to a point where you can attach things like videos, websites, PDFs. So then you continue, and here is this is called a collaborate board, right? So ask you a question, kids have to answer here, and you will see kind of like post-it notes on this collaborate board, and the kids could read each other's answers and like each other's answers and things like that. If you continue, now we have class discussion, right? You can have a discussion, you can start exploring trades, you could ask open-ended questions. Right, what do you already know about trade careers? So that's gonna come from that discussion that you had before. There's another collaborate board here, and then you could add different things to this lesson. So here we have a website instead of a video as before. And so you can attach different resources, websites, PDFs. And so let's continue. Think, pair, and share. You have that activity. Then you will have an open-ended question about that. Right? The kids have to pretty much answer the question and submit it. You have another collaborate board here. Exploring trades. Now we have a virtual reality photo where the kids can actually see what those work sites look like. You could enter the VR, so you could pick a spot on the photo, and then you enter the VR and it zooms in. So you could press escape to exit out. You could pick another spot on the photo and zoom in. All right, so these are all different things that you can add to your lessons. Here we have another work site. You pick the part of the image you want to zoom in, and you just click on that enter VR button on top. All right, so here's another picture. Then you have, you can add some open-ended questions throughout the entire presentation. All right, so this is basically, how Nearpod works. Right, so you're getting the kids engaged in real time. Okay, so This is great because you know exactly who's participating, because the kids are going to be answering these questions. There's a poll here. Right? They're going to be interacting with the lesson at all times. Okay, so that's just an example of a lesson created, you know, by Nearpod. This is one of the lessons that you can use, right? So what you do is, if you want to use this, you go to add to my library, and now this lesson gets added to my library. I could go and show that lesson in my library, and here I can edit the lesson. Okay, so you can delete any slide that you don't want to include. You could add more activities, so add a slide, and you have all the different options. And I will cover what these options are, you know, later on when we start doing our own lessons with Google Slides. Okay, so this is a great resource because, you know, you can just edit. You know, so you make the changes, whatever changes you want, and then, you know, you save and exit. So at that point, that lesson is going to be added to your library. You know, I have other things here because, you know, these are my lessons that I've been delivering with Nearpod in my class. But here it is, right? Here is the lesson that I added to my library. And at this point, I can do two things with this lesson. I can do live participation, or I can do a student pace. Right? I usually do both because those kids that cannot make it to the live session, they could always make up the work using the student pace lesson. So live participation, if you click on it, it's going to throw you straight into that lesson. It's going to give you a code. This is the code that you're going to be giving the kids, right? So the kids can go to nearpod.com, or they can just go here, join.nearpod.com. Right, so the website looks a little bit different than that original homepage. And here they will put their code. So let's copy that code over so that you can see what that looks like. So they're going to join. It's going to ask them for their name, right? Make sure that the kids use their full name, last name, and first name and last name, and then join the lesson. And at that point, the kids are going to be, you know, following along this lesson. You know, they can't move forward on their own. So everything that they see here is going to depend on what you're doing on your teacher account. That's right. This is how you deliver your lessons live. I'm going to exit out so that I can go over the student pace. So in the student pace option, you know, Nearpod creates a separate code for that. Okay. You can click here to require student to complete all activities, so they won't skip through the activities. And then here you could set up the date. So let's say, you know, the semester is over sometime in January, so we can set the date on the last day, let's say the 29th. And now the kids have, you know, 65 days to make up that assignment. Okay, so you're gonna press apply, and then once you do that, you could close this out, right? Because it's already set up. And what I do is, you know, in the lesson, when I set it up on Google Classroom, I won't put the code for the live session, right? Because I'm gonna share that code with the kids that are on Zoom during that time, right? So I won't put it in the actual Google Classroom assignment. What I will put in the Google Classroom assignment is this here. It's the student pace code. Okay, just in case they missed the live, they could always go back and complete their assignments. So you close it out. I'm going to show you again student pace. We know that we have one session going. If you have 5 different sessions of the same class, you could just use one code for all 5 of them. It's gonna get a little bit more, you know, difficult to grade, right? Because if you grade by class, it might get a little bit, you know, confusing. So what you can do is you can launch separate student-paced lessons for each period. Okay, so again, you can set it up. You go to January, apply, require students to ask all questions, and then you exit out. When you go back to student page, now you have 2 sessions happening at the same time, and you could, set up 5 if that's what you need to set up. Next thing I want to discuss is basically the reports tab over here. This reports option here. This is basically where you're going to find your student work, right? So, what the students did throughout that live or student-paced assignment. This lesson here is the one that we copy from the Nearpod content here. It's not going to have anything because students haven't participated in this lesson yet. But I'm going to show you one of my lessons here. Let's go to emphasis. And as you can see, I have different sessions here. And if we go to this one, first of all, you'll be able to see a summary of, what the kids did. So here you see the individual activities, right? And it tells you the percentage of participation, the amount of engagement in that lesson. And then on top, you can see things individually. So in this lesson, I had a poll, right? So I can see those answers individually, right? By student name. I could see the open-ended activity. I could see all the students' answers on the open-ended section. The draw it session, I can see what the kids did. They had to identify the area of focus, so they used the drawing tools to identify those areas. Okay, so I had 2 draw it activities during this lesson, so I can see both of them here. The collaborate board, so I can click here and see what all the students wrote. As you can see, kids can also like each other's comments. Go back. In this assignment, I had 2 collaborate activities, right? So it will show me here. You can see all of the kids' answers. Time to climb. It's a quiz in a game format, so that the kids, kids feel that they're always competing against each other. All right, so I can see all the scores, and I can see, individually what the students picked as their responses. All right, so that is time to climb. So overall, the percentages here basically, it's a summary. It tells you how much the kid interacted with those activities. So this is how you will access this information in order to give the students a grade. Part number 3, I'm going to show you how to turn your Google Slides presentations into Nearpod lessons. So let's go over to Google here. All right, so I have this presentation. All right, I'm gonna save a copy because I don't want to edit the original one. I'm actually using that right now, so I don't want to edit that. So I just made a copy of that presentation. For those of you who do not know how to turn your PowerPoint presentations into Google Slides presentations, right? All you have to do is drop it in the Google Drive. You're gonna open it once it uploads, and on top, you open with Google Slides. Click there, and at this point, it's still a Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, right? So you have to basically save it as a Google slide in order to be able to use the Nearpod plugin. So how do you do that? You just go to File and you save a copy of that Microsoft presentation as a Google slide, and you can see here that now it no longer has the Microsoft PowerPoint format, the file format. So at this point, I can close this. I can even delete it because you see here it created that copy for me, and I could just delete the PowerPoint so that it's not taking up space on your drive. All right, so I have this presentation here, right? So basically that's how you turn a PowerPoint presentation into a Google Slide presentation. In order to access Nearpod from your Google Slide presentation, you first have to download it, right? You have to install it. So I need you to go to the add-ons menu, and I need you to go to get add-ons. Once you do that, the Google Workspace Marketplace is gonna pop up, and at that point you can just search for Nearpod. You're gonna click here to install it. It's already installed in my computer, so I don't have to do that, right? But you will have to install it before you can actually use it. Once you install it, you could close the Marketplace and then go back to add-ons, and now Nearpod should come up there. It has an option. I'm going to open Nearpod, and on the right hand side you're going to get all the different options that Nearpod offers. Let's say I want to start adding activities or resources to this presentation. So I'm going to go over the ones that I've used so far, and I will be giving you the Nearpod YouTube channel, so the address for that channel, because this is very helpful, right? They also have this teacher resources link on the Nearpod website, but I feel that it's just too much information there, and I think their YouTube channel is a lot more helpful. All right, so let's say you want to add audio. You're gonna click on audio. Let's say you have a song that you want to play. You can just upload it if you have it in your computer, or if you already have it in your drive, you can just get it from your drive. And I guess this option I never used, but I guess from your cloud, if you have it saved on your cloud, you can get it from there. So I'm gonna go here. Let's say I want to open that file, and it is very simple. Right, so you added the file. It's gonna create a new slide for you. Right, give it a few minutes so that it can refresh. At this point, when you see the icon, when you see something in the middle, that means that it's done. Okay, so now when you deliver this lesson, the kids will be able to play it, or you as a teacher could just control those options. Right, so you can, I believe you can just play it, or you can let the kids listen to it on their own. Okay. All right, so that's audio, very basic. So I'm going to delete this, and now I'm going to go to the option that's called BBC Video. Now these are videos that you can add to your lessons, right? So there's not a lot of options here, but if you're teaching history, you got some stuff there: health, environment, living species, science stuff. So you can do that, and it's just, you just gotta click on it. You preview if you want to look at it before you add it. Right, you can preview that, and if you want to add it, just press done. And again, Nearpod is gonna create an extra slide on that presentation. Let it refresh. Right, wait a few seconds. Once it refreshes and it shows you something in the middle, then it's done. There you go. Okay. So just be patient. It takes a few seconds to just, refresh and really attach it to that presentation. All right, so that's BBC Video. The Collaborate board that you saw previously on the reports, you can add it here. You have different, colors down here. Basically, you enter the topic, you enter the question, and then you could add a photo if you want, a JPEG or a PNG. To this Collaborate, and the kids could just click on that photo on their end, look at it, and then answer the question that you post. And then you just save it, and again it's going to create a slide. So every time you create something, it's going to add a new slide to it. Okay, this is the Collaborate board. Again, give it a few seconds for it to really attach. So it's going to refresh on its own, and here we go. All right, so at that point we're ready to move on. All right, so draw it. You saw some examples of this in my lessons, but what you can do here is just add a background image. You can write the instructions here. You can add extra resources here. So you can add image, video, a PDF, audio file, web content, so like a website, and then you can actually record yourself. If you want to record yourself and read the questions for those students that will need that extra resource, you can do that, right? So you would just record yourself, pause it, and save, and it will attach to that slide. And the timer, right? You could also add time, so the kids will have that amount of time to answer to this question, whatever you post here. And this is a draw it. So what you want to upload in the background is something that the kids have to maybe identify on a picture, or it could be a worksheet where kids draw or select different answers. You want to add that as a background so that the kids can then choose their drawing tools and then answer whatever it is that you're asking them to do. The next thing is called a field trip. This is where you will be adding your virtual reality images. So there's a lot of stuff here. You can just type the word here. It will search the library. And if it has images, that have to do with what you typed, then yes, you will get those images. You can preview those images before you add them. Right? When it looks like that, you usually have to give it a few seconds so that it can load correctly. And then again, it works the same. You choose the place where you want to zoom in, and you can enter VR. Once you're done, you click here, and it will add another slide with that photo. Fill in the blanks, very easy to use. So let's say I want to copy a sentence here. This is where you will be pasting these sentences. So you can even like copy and paste things straight from the presentation. And then, you got different options here, different styles that you can pick. And then when you go next, this is where you get to pick the words that you want to take out. They're going to be here. These are the options that the students are going to have to complete this question. You press done, and again, it's going to add it to your presentation. Flipgrid is another platform that allows students to create videos. The one time that I used Flipgrid in my classroom, the students were having too many issues with it, so I don't really recommend it. But this is what Flipgrid is. It's basically, you're going to have to go to another website, set up the assignment. So this is what the students will be doing, recording a response here. This is the few responses that I got from my classes. So you can see kids can add, text to it. They can blur out the, the background, the camera. They can add audio.
Rhythm can be changed as it.
Right, so they can do a lot of stuff here, but it seems that the kids were having a lot of issues, so I don't really recommend it. But if you record the response, you will see here that you can add effects, frames to your response. You can add a border, so you could, split the screen, use this for text, and here you will have your camera. You can add emojis to it. You can add different filters. Right. So right now my camera is covered, but if you uncover it, now you can see yourself, right? And you can apply some of these effects. They're pretty cool effects. If you want to add a Flipgrid to your lessons, the Flipgrid website will give you a web address where you're gonna put here, and then it's gonna add it automatically to the Nearpod lesson as a slide, and students can add their responses at that point. Here we have matching exercise. You put the instructions here. Here you will put the word. Here you could put an image, or you could type, let's say, I don't know, the definition. You could add another pair, and then another definition. You could add another pair and the definition on this side, and then you click done. You're gonna be able to preview that, and this is what the kids will see. Right, so they choose aperture, and they gotta find the definition of aperture. They match it, shutter speed, ISO with ISO. Right, so that's how that works. It's very, very simple. Memory tests I never used before. Nearpod 3D I haven't used before. Open-ended questions is very basic. You can use this throughout your presentation to ask, questions, check for understandings throughout the presentation. And you could add a timer to it. You could add extra resources, and you can read the question, right, for those students that will benefit from that. You could also turn this feature on, and this feature allows students to record their responses instead of typing their responses. Those kids that will benefit from that will take advantage of those features. PDFs, this is where you add a PDF. It's very basic. You just upload the PDF. You can add polls, you can add quizzes, you can add simulations. This is a very cool feature here for math and science. So if you go to math high school, you got different simulations here that you can attach to your lessons. So let's say we go to high school science. You got all of these different options here. Let's say we pick charges and fields. So here you got the options to add positive, negative charges, right? And the kids can see for themselves what happens. So this is a very, very cool feature. Fortunately, it's only math and science. Time to climb, it's basically like a quiz. So if we go to quiz, this is very basic multiple choice quiz. You put your question, the answers here. You can add more answers. You could add a timer again to the entire quiz. Let's say you want to duplicate that question, or you want to add a new question. You could use this button here to add a new question. But if you want to duplicate that, because let's say your answers might be similar, you could just duplicate that question. Now you made the adjustments. Here you get to pick the right answer. You can add more resources per question, image, video. Again, you can read the question for those students that can benefit from that. So this is very straightforward here. Now, the time to climb is going to be similar. It's basically, a quiz that's kind of set up as a game. So kids, get to compete for first place. But it works exactly the same way. You could add timers. You got different answers here. You could add images, right? The answers could be images, not just text. And if you want to duplicate the question, it works the same. To delete the question, you can press here. To add more answers, add a different question. Right, so it works similar as the quiz feature here, but the difference is that this is gonna be kind of like a game between the students. Or you could add videos. Video is pretty cool because you got different options. You could add videos from the Nearpod library. You could add videos straight from YouTube. You could just search for YouTube videos here. You can add videos to your profile, to your library on Nearpod, and they will come up here. Or you can upload a video from your hard drive. If you already have it in Drive, you could just attach it. And you got different options here. I guess this is Dropbox and the cloud. And web content, you could just type the web address of whatever website you want to share with the kids, and it will come up as a slide. Now, there's a few things here that I haven't used, like Sway, for example. Let's say you want to find out what Sway is. You go to the YouTube channel, you type the word Sway, and there's a 1-minute video that you can watch in order to set that up. All right, but I think it's basically like a memory test activity. But you can use the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is very helpful. Like I mentioned before, it has teacher resources here, but this is too overwhelming. It has a lot of information, and sometimes you just want to get straight to the point. Sometimes you're just looking for something specifically, and you have so much here. So I like the YouTube channel better. Once you finish setting up all of the activities. In order to convert this into a Nearpod lesson, you will have to go here, click here, save, and go to Nearpod. And Nearpod is automatically going to send it to your library. It's gonna save it as a Nearpod lesson. All right, so at this point, it's already here. It's already on Nearpod, and then you could set it up. Your live participation. If you click on that, it's gonna give you the code. This code, you're gonna share it with your students that join that class that day. If you're gonna do a Google Classroom assignment, do not include this code, because if students want to make up this assignment on their own, this code is not going to be valid. Make sure that you only share this with the students that are joining your meetings on a daily basis. And this is what the presentation will look like. So you have some options here in this interface. Here is one of the activities. You could press start, and the kids will see something differently over there, right? So this is your teacher account, right? You can choose to unshare answers. You could choose to hide student names or show student names. And then here it will show you the amount of students that are connected to the lesson. Here you will have the different slides. The top right hand corner, you have the option to switch to the student account, right? So if you want to see what it looks like on their end, you could just switch to student view, and it will show you a preview of what that question looks like. Now, you don't want to do this while the students are working on the activity, right? This is for you to see what it looks like in the student account, maybe prior to starting your lessons. Right, so here you can click again and go to the teacher view. Here goes another activity. This activity is to draw it, right? So kids have to pick the right answers. If you want to see what that looks like in student view, you can switch to the student account. Now, this is what the kids will be able to see, and the kids will be using these tools to pick the answers. Go back to the teacher account. Students will see these slides and these activities in real time on their end. Here's another draw it activity. All right, so when you go to the Collaborate board, you're gonna get this question: do you want to approve messages or not? All right, so before everyone sees the messages, it gives you the option to whether or not you want to approve them. The lesson is gonna work exactly as any lesson that you will get from the Nearpod content. Right, so you have the live participation, and you also have the student pace, so you can set those up. Require students to complete all activities, choose your date, apply, and then close. And then you will have the opportunity not only to engage students live, but also those students who don't make it to class, you have the student pace lesson that they can do on their own. So this is the code that you will share on Google Classroom on the assignments if you want the kids to make it up on their own. Okay, so it works exactly as any lesson from the Nearpod content. You have those options as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Of course, your lessons are going to change depending on the activities that you use. And I hope that this training was helpful. If you have any questions, you can just write the questions down below in the comment section.